This is the Rebel Scum Podcast. Available in video on YouTube and audio wherever you listen to your podcasts. Every week, Brock and James talk the latest rumors, news, and theories from a galaxy far, far away. Support us on Patreon for exclusive offers and join the Star Wars discussion. Patreon.com/RebelScumPodcast. Here are your hosts, Brock and James.
You have always got Rebel Scum.
Boom. Kaboom. And we're exploding into this episode just like
boom!
that
Scare you?
friggin' Mandalorian cruiser into Moff Gideon's base. Spoilers. Who cares?
Spoilers for episode 3.
Podcast.
Yeah, if you haven't figured out, we're going to do spoilers. Right now, we got Heidi and Dale in the chat.
Word.
And earlier, we had Charlie Happ, host here, half hour early. So thanks for everybody for joining us. Mandalorian season 3 is come and gone. One more year. Like, you know what's sad is when Mando first came out, Brock was all like, "Yeah, it's coming. We're getting a show stuff." Now we're 3.5, 4 seasons, 4 years removed, and I'm an old man.
Mm-hmm.
Like with every passing season, I'm starting to feel more and more back pain, and my knees give out. It's just, I just don't know what to say anymore.
Okay. You're just suddenly like right in the screen.
I automated Joyce here as well.
Bam. So, yeah, what a season. I can't believe there's not like 3 more episodes, but like, James, we haven't really talked about this episode. What did you think of the finale of season 3 of Mandalorian?
So I've been very vocal on how much I've really enjoyed this season. Mm-hmm. And I was watching this episode with Aaron, and we were watching it, and there was a point in it where they're all the Mandalorians are jumping out of their ship with their flight packs on, their jet packs. And I was like, man, this is Star Wars. This is what, like, I know, look, I love Andor to death, right? But I'm watching it and I'm just like, this is why I watch Star Wars. Like, do you know what I mean? I was just like, this is why I watch this stupid franchise. And I said this the other day. I was like, this one, and I think I said this last night on I came live alone because I was lonely. But I think I said this. I was like, episode 23. This was 24. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
This like in between, like this was the most exciting Star Wars has been since maybe The Force Awakens to The Last Jedi. Like in terms of like anticipation, and like this is all like there's this excitement about it going into it. Like, how are they going to get out of it? Like, what's going to happen? And it hasn't built because Last Jedi to Rise of Skywalker, it wasn't the same. Like, it might even be like an excitement going into like Phantom Menace. Like, there was just something about it. And watching the episode for me, it like fulfilled everything. It was like everything that I was everything I was anticipating didn't happen. Everything that I wasn't anticipating didn't happen. They just did what they do for 3 seasons and Boba Fett, whatever the hell they want. Oh, you think there's more spies? No, there's not.
No.
Like, Axe Wolves is actually kind of heroic. You're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
The armor is, and this is what I love that and because Heidi brought up like the dark. She said before this episode, like they need to destroy the Darksaber because that seems to be the problem. And I'm watching the episode, they destroy it. I'm like, and then they unite. I'm like, Heidi was right. And the thing is, the Mandalorian people use the Darksaber as like the ruler of Mandalore is the Darksaber. But this season, you're like, no, it's the Mythosaur. Like Bo-Katan seeing the Mythosaur gave the armorer, right, the encouragement she needed to follow Bo-Katan. Like the armor is the general, not the leader. Bo-Katan is like the president. I was like, this. You idiot, like Favreau Filoni, like they threw us all for a loop playing one card when the Mythosaur was the biggest deal on the show, and all it did was blink an eye.
It's It's like when you this is a weird pull, but like it's like Shang-Chi and the whatever 10 rings, like it's like, oh yeah, this guy can fight, and then like the dragon shows up and you're like, Atreyu, no, or was Falcor. But it's so true. It's just like the mythical beast is like, this is the person. This is the person right here. It's crazy how like they've taken sort of like a George Lucas concept or whatever, just like this Mandalorian thing that's like we kind of like got and just rolled with it, and everything made sense. Arguably, like it's just like it worked on so many levels,
Yeah.
and it's like you could say, oh, the Lizzo Jack Black episode's the one like weakest, but it's like
Best
not
episode.
really, because it kind of gives you the opportunity to see Bo-Katan and Din Djarin like figure each other out, because there's like times where she's like, why are you like this? But like it's like that little bit of like humanity that we need, and then we're back in the action where it's like, why do we care? Like why would we care about Bo-Katan over Din Djarin? And like it's just so good. Everything works so well, and it was just like you said right off the top, it's like we had no clue. Like I was thinking about like all the top fives, or sorry, the not top
Everything
fives,
we said
the
wrong.
what Never Tell Me the Odds, where we're like, what's gonna happen next episode? And like I think one of them was like, will Grogu talk
Yeah.
in the next episode or by the end of the season? And it's just like he kind of talked, not the way we were assuming, but like it still worked. It was just like, whew. And it makes me sad that he doesn't have the IG-12 exoskeleton, because like how amazing would that be? He walks around faster now and then talks occasionally. Like, oh,
The thing, and everyone, there's not everyone, but there was a complaints like, oh, he got him back in the Book of Boba Fett, and now you think back, you're like, the Book of Boba Fett, him training with Luke was such a huge factor in the end of this episode.
yeah.
Like it was such a massive factor at the when he fought the Praetorian Guards, and then when he holds the flames,
Yeah.
he couldn't have done that. Like, I mean, you could they could have wrote that in. It's just writing. It's not real. But like the character, he would like do the Force. I remember episode 2, The Child, the greatest episode in television history. He used the Force on the Mudhorn, and then he's like wiped out for like half an episode after that. Like now he's doing it, and he just has to sit down. He's like, gotta take a breath, guys. Gotta take a breath. I'm good to go. It was great. And people were nagging about him flipping earlier in the season as well. And that came back. Like everything came back into play this whole season. I loved it. And I was also thinking about this. Let me know what you think about this. Is that we had to watch this season of like, because people were complaining that Bo-Katan was the lead this season and Din Djarin took a back seat. I think if you binged this season, it plays differently, because I don't think that was the case. I think we were seeing the season through Din Djarin's eyes, through the Mando's eyes. But, and again, this is where us fans are idiots. Because we were like, Din's going to get the Darksaber and lead Mandalore. But that was never his character.
No,
that was never what he wanted. That was Bo-Katan's, that was her shtick from the get-go, right? From like Clone Wars. That's been her thing. Her family duty is to lead.
Yeah.
It wasn't Din's. And this season, he's literally like, I go where you go. It's like, it's all laid out there for us to know, like, we're following him, follow her, because the purpose of this is to unite Mandalore. He plays a massive part of that, but he was never meant to be that leader. No. And neither was the armorer. The armorer is the general for the lead. Like, I'm just like, everything is laid out in front of us. And for some reason, we're like, what is it going to be? And the obvious answer is always the answer when it comes to this show.
Yeah. It's great. It was just, you were right. Like this felt like Star Wars, like so, especially anything with like where like when they were in space with the cruiser and the TIE fighters, and just like the Mandalorians like zipping around in their jetpacks. It's just like that's exactly what George Lucas has been like dreaming about for the last 40 years, where it's just like, whew, look at that. Like it's like we've never even thought of that much about the Mandalorian jetpack ever. Like it's like they went from like Axe Woes goes into space and then land. Like they run out of gas when they chase a massive
Yeah, I know that.
pterodactyl. But he shoots into the atmosphere, lands on a ship, and it's totally fine. It's like, sweet, yes, yeah, totally, I'm in. This is so sweet.
My belief is that that faction of Mandos had better jetpacks than the ones
Oh,
that
good
were
point.
on.
Yeah.
I'm
That
just
actually
making that
does
up.
make sense.
I'm making it up, but that's my head canon right there. Like TLJ fans either loved it or hated it. Yeah, I find it weird that Star Wars fans can't go on, like they can't just enjoy anything. It's like we are split down the middle, like Mandalorians ourselves. I went into this episode. You know what this? I think last week I mentioned how, or you mentioned whatever, that it felt like that was the Empire Strikes Back, and this was the Return of the Jedi episode. It was like it's like they just did it all right, doom and gloom, and then.
Yeah.
And it was also, I love that they just like they did the recap and like, okay, they recapped everything. And then Bo-Katan's running axe. We need help. I'm like, whoa, we're right into it. There's no like nonsense, no like slowing down. You know, I was half expecting like it to start with Pelimoto on Tatooine for whatever reason, but it wasn't. It was just like we are in the action. Let's go. We've got to unite Mandalore.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say Return of the Jedi because the title of this was The Return. One thing I noticed, because like when we were talking about the spies last episode, I was like, I didn't even catch the title, because one thing's I maybe I'm wrong, but they don't put the title of the new episode immediately. It's blank. I noticed that 2 weeks in a row. It'll say chapter 24, but it won't say title. And I think
the same for this week.
Yeah, but I didn't see it when I watched it the first time, so I was like, wait, what?
No, because I didn't watch it right away. And I said the show, just I'll say it again today, is I woke up and my friend Steve, who I work with, who gave me this that I'm going to unbox later. What could it be? He sent me a screen grab on Twitter from Heidi saying, stay off of everything, like YouTube, Twitter, because it was already ruined. I didn't go on social media until after I watched, like it was late, like it was like late evening, early evening or whatever. Because I was like, yeah, it's not worth it. I'm not even going to go on YouTube. I'm not going to go on TikToks. I'm not going to go on, even though all my stuff. I did go on my Instagram pizza page because all it is pizza. And if Star Wars trickled into that algorithm, it would have been weird. But it's all pizza. But like, so I had that. So I knew not to. But he said, I can't believe there's no title for this episode. And I was like, what? How can there not be a title? And that's what you just mentioned, is they don't put it up right away. I think it was there when I saw. I can't remember though.
Yeah, because you watch it usually later in the day. I bet it's like the first 12 hours or something like that. Because I noticed it last week and just never thought about it until like this week.
Yeah, I don't. When I'm on that page though, you mean like on the Disney page, not the episode, right?
Like so typically when I go, because it's usually the first thing on the splash page, I click it and it brings you to the Mando page. Typically on season 3, though I switched my Disney Plus account, so it says I have not watched the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, which is totally false. Yeah, no, I agree, Dale. Dale says the title spoils the show, but showing the recap of the scenes. So I didn't read all of it. Anyways, Dale is always right. But yeah, no, I'm pretty certain. Again, I watched this early in the morning, but I had to remember because I think I scrolled down to the actual episode and clicked it, because I think on mine, because I'm watching it with Reham, it would have been on the episode, like resume episode of like where we were on that. So I mean, I could be totally wrong. It's usually like 6 or 7 in the morning when I watch these things. I think that's a good move on their part, but it's interesting. Like maybe next season we'll keep tabs on that, or Ahsoka. Maybe it'll be like that with Ahsoka.
Yeah, let me know, because I don't. So when I click on those episodes, I just hit. I just hit play. Like I don't even look at it. So I won't even know. But but to that point though, because you said you switched accounts, we've been watching Mandalorian. Aaron has, like, we each have a Disney profile, and for some reason this season we watched on Aaron's profile. I don't know. We don't care. So I put it on and I hit play, and it's starting. This is episode 1 I'm talking about. This is 8 weeks ago. Episode 1 starts and a ship comes down, and there's all these like women, families in water. Like they were like, I was like, oh, this reminds me of that episode from the third episode of the first season. We're going back to this, and that actress from that episode was there. I'm like, whoa, we're going back. That's crazy. Anyway, it turned out we were watching that episode because apparently we watched, I guess, the first 2 episodes of the first season on Aaron's account, and then the rest on my profile. So the first 5 minutes of this season, was actually season 3 for me. And,
no, I that exact same thing happened to me. I started watching the Lizzo episode again. I was like, oh, cool. We're gonna be back to this, and like this is that episode. Because
I have expected one or both of them to appear again towards the end. Like, they feel like those characters that you're like, everyone hates them. They're coming back. But like Jack Black's name was Captain Bombardier. It's kind of the best name.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like for Canadians, it's like snowmobiles. Anyways, yeah. I loved it. Here's one thing I've been thinking about. Heidi's like a trooper. She's in. She's like, no, I cannot have my day spoiled. Immediately watch this episode. So then, now that we know a little bit more of what Moff Gideon has been up to, because as great as a villain as Moff Gideon is, it's like we spent 0 time with him. This is the season we spent the most with him, but he's just like a shadow. He's like the Emperor in the first 2 movies, where you're like, apparently he's evil. I don't know. But like, so we got a sense, like we finally see into these cloning jars, and it's not Snoke, it's him. So then the whole precedent of season 1 is that, and then he was like, I made them perfect, except I was trying to get them to be force sensitive, but I couldn't get it. So like, we're saying that like that's why he wanted Grogu from the get, and that was the whole reason. There was no one else looking for Grogu. It was Moff Gideon looking for Grogu. Is that how you read it as well?
Yeah, and again, that fits perfectly in with the show, where the show only concerns itself about the show, and you think it's concerning itself with the sequel trilogy, but they're like, nah, this is just about us. I think it's going to eventually lead into like Palpatine and Snoke and all that stuff. But I think, that's what I read it was him wanting to clone himself, and that's the begs the question: was that him at the end, or was it a clone? I think it was him. I think the way the show goes, that was definitely him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But the other point to Moff Gideon is, I saw someone complain, like, we're at 7 episodes in and we just got our main villain now, and I was like, no. We're 7 episodes in and we just got Moff Gideon now.
Yeah.
He wasn't the villain of the first 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Like he was name dropped, so you knew he was around, but he wasn't the main villain. He didn't do anything. Like, you can't, if he was the first episode, he's like, I'm gonna get you, Mandalorian, and then we didn't see him again for 6 episodes. Yeah. And then we didn't see, then you'd be like, well, that was weird. But he's not the villain. He was in prison until what, the 5th episode, 6th episode, like that's what we were meant to believe.
Right. Yeah.
So it was great. But that the same type of thing though with the Snoke is like, we were like, oh, did Mandalorians break him out? No, it was his Beskar armor, like you brought up.
Yeah, exactly.
It was himself. It's like he was, I guess, at the end of it, because Thrawn's coming in. I would have liked to see him and Thrawn have like a Krennic Tarkin relationship going down the line. Whatever. I'm not gonna complain. But like, it felt almost like his flaw was he was full of himself and obsessed with himself. Thrawn is above that, right? Thrawn isn't about him, it's about the greater good for Thrawn, and that's where Thrawn becomes more powerful. So I kind of like that his ego was, I love it, he was an egocentric maniac, and Giancarlo Esposito, just, you could just tell he's having like the time of his life playing that sleazy role, like, because he's amazing in Breaking Bad, but this one he's just chewing that scenery up.
Yeah, well, put up what Heidi just said. So this is totally true. He had Dr. Pershing, and that's the whole point of that episode where he's erasing them. So it's like, I love it. There's not exposition. It's just sort of pointing out, like, this is why this happened and this is why that happening. Because like all that stuff is like, it's cool and all, but like it's inconsequential, because the story we want to know is the story of Grogu, the story of Mando, and like the story of Bo-Katan, I would argue, or just the Mandalorians in general. The show is The Mandalorian. It doesn't have to be just about Din. Like I think it's really, really like genius how it all worked together. But yeah, what you said something. Yeah, like I feel like this is a setup. Like we're setting up the next season to be a possible crossover with Ahsoka because we're gonna get that first, and we're gonna get Thrawn in that first. We're mentioning Thrawn in this season. I think this is perfect because it's like, let me ask you this: if there was no season 4 for this show, would you argue that the story? I know you've already said that season 1 or like the end of season 2 is the end of one chapter of the story, but like the ending of this episode kind of just says, there you have it. This is the story, and they live happily ever after.
Yeah, it definitely does. But then he has to go on. I just love when Amber's like, now you will take him on your adventures.
Oh yeah,
And
that,
you
they
will
set that up.
basically relive season 1 and 2
Yeah.
together forever. That's what it felt like. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Yeah. So yeah, for me, like it's kind of like the Skywalker saga where it ended at Return of the Jedi, really, right? But this was kind of the same where season 2 came because the whole point was like, what do I do with this with Baby Yoda, right? That was the whole point of like season 1 and 2. Like they bonded. What do I do with this thing? You have to give him to a Jedi. That's his people. And it concluded. It ended. And we were both of different minds where I was like, they just move on. Like, don't bring Baby Yoda back. You're like, he will be back. And you were right. But like, cause I felt like, what else are you going to do with him? Because that storyline was obviously there's more and I'm not smart, but like they did that. And I was like, okay, that's great. Then this season was, okay, this is about, because this season was always about Mandalore being united and bringing it back. And as much as nobody seemed to realize that, it was pretty much laid out in that first episode. So it was kind of like, all right, they did it. I thought maybe they would drag it into another season of it, but no, they did it. It did feel over. And if they don't continue with anything, I think we're fine. What I think though is I think that Rangers of the New Republic show that never happened because apparently unless Gina Carano could be in it, it was just not. There might have been something. Maybe there was something in her contract. Like if I'm not in this, it doesn't happen. I can't figure it out. Like you can make anybody in that show the main character of that show, but it feels like if there is a 4th season, which I believe Favreau said he has been writing it, I kind of have this feeling that it will be Din and Grogu on missions, like Outer Rim style missions, and they will pick up pieces to, like, I don't want to say the First Order because the show is, we always think it's going right to the sequel trilogy, but they're still like 15 years away.
Yeah.
But like, I think he will, there'll be, it'll be more like season 2 where he's on a planet, leaves, but there'll be pieces to this bigger puzzle that will be revealed throughout it. And we might not be privy to that when it happens, but that's what I kind of feel like they'll do. And that will bring us into the Mandoverse movie, which honestly, Din Djarin might just be like a really minor character in that. It could be more Ahsoka driven for all we know. It could be more Sabine, Ezra. We don't know. But that's where I am. I'm like, I think their story is done, but now like, it keeps getting done. But to answer your question the most long-winded way possible, they are a side story in the story of Star Wars, Din and Grogu, and they are our entry point into all these bigger stories, like the Mandalore coming back and whatever's going on with Thrawn.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and I was just thinking about, I read that animated Joey's response there. It's like they truly definitely, I don't think he was ever on set this season because they didn't show his face.
Yeah.
Because so what was the point?
This
is sort of like something I've always thought about of like the Iron Man character in Marvel. Now we know he's dead in the Marvel MCU.
Whoa!
Surprise!
What?
But that's the beauty of someone in armor. Like you could put him in any movie as long as you don't show the face, and there's not a reason to. I know in MCU they love the idea of like someone's in the shoot. Remember stuff happening over their face, and it's like the cheapest, like it's the easiest day of their shoot. But like it works with Mandalorians, like like you don't have to take their helmet off. So anybody, and not like shout outs to the Mandalorian two dudes at the ones, I forget his name, Brendan Wayne and Lateef
Brendan Wayne.
Crowder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
They got their flowers this season by being in the credits, like the
Yes.
main cast credits. So like we could have Ahsoka at the very, very end, Grogu and didn't show up, and it's just like perfect. That's great. Like we never have to see Pedro Pascal's face again. I just want to hear his voice, and I'm sure he'll be grateful to just occasionally show up in a soundstage.
So there were all the rumors about how he wanted to leave the show, and there was a big fight with him and Disney or something. Apparently, it came out that the argument, now whether this is true or not, who knows? But apparently, the word is that the big argument, Brock, was in season 1 because Disney wanted to pay him a voice actor salary, and he wanted a actor salary.
Right.
And that's why you see his face in season 1, and I'm guessing that's why you see it in season 2. Yeah. And by season 3, he's like, I've got Last of Us money. I don't know, who knows what happened there. I'm fine with not seeing his face. I'm fine with it. I thought we saw it too much in season 2. We saw it twice. I thought it was too much. The Grogu thing made sense. And so I'm okay with never seeing his face. No offense to Pedro Pascal at all, but I don't need his face. It's like I don't like. Look, Tamora Morrison's great, but I don't watch Boba Fett to see Boba Fett's face. You know what I mean? Like no one bought Boba Fett toys to see Boba Fett's face that they didn't know what he looked like in the 80s. You know, like it's not what Star Wars is.
Yeah.
And, like John Leguizamo, don't forget, was in that first episode of Mandalorian last year. He played like the clown alien version of the clown from Spawn. Yeah,
exactly. Like, and he still refuses to watch Super Mario Brothers the movie,
which is a weird boycott.
Yeah,
because of who's in the movie still. But John Leguizamo is my Luigi. Sorry, Charlie Day, I love you too. But John Leguizamo, me and my sister Kristen became obsessed with John Leguizamo after the Mario Brother movie, and we used to just everything we rented, and they were not for kids. We would tell you these movies weren't necessarly for the young crowd.
You're the one person that kept renting The Pest over.
Yeah, we rented The Pest like 5 times.
I miss the days of going to video stores. The best.
So
what else was I going to say? No, I thought it was great, and like it just sort of. It wraps it like cleverly explains things without being like, duh, it was me the whole time. It's like, no, it's just it was just like perfect. And like I didn't even think about the fact that he might have more clones somewhere, so we might see a Moff Gideon at some other point. Like I was like, oh. But I'm curious then too, like, will this work? Will Palpatine or Brundle Hux get his hands on like what they created here? I don't know. And now that there's no Moff Gideon, where's Kane gonna like appear again? So I really hope next season, if there is a season, we get more Shadow Council, because like you just introduced this, like, please give us more, explain. And but then I think that Thrawn could make an appearance, but we don't know. Like the Ahsoka show will definitely define what happens next, right?
Yeah, well, if you were at Celebration, they did show an image of what Thrawn looks like in that show. Spoilers, looks like Lars Mikkelsen with blue makeup on. So Google a picture of Lars Mikkelsen and just paint him blue, and that's what it looks like. I'm curious to see how big a role Thrawn's going to have in that.
Yeah.
Because I kind of think you won't get him until the end or like a mid-season. Like it'll be a long. Like I don't think we'll get to him. Watch this show start with Thrawn. It totally proves me wrong. I've been wrong about everything else with these shows. Why not? Ahsoka looks great though.
Do you remember who directed this episode?
It was Rick Famuyiwa, our boy.
Yes,
the child episode, best episode of all time.
I completely forget that like he directed Dope, because I watched the other night just because I couldn't fall asleep. And it was like fantastic movie, and it's just like, whoa, look at him now. So we've said this I think since season 2 of Book of Boba Fett, where
what I'm glad, and it's happening with the Mandoverse movie thing, but the way they have such a great hold on Star Wars, the team, and I don't mean Favreau and Filoni, I mean the whole directing team, like Bryce Dallas Howard, Rick Famuyiwa, Dave Filoni's in there, obviously. Like there's a core group of them that return. Deborah Chow. There's that group of them that come in, and the thing that, and what's great about it is they have a firm understanding of the universe that they're working in, not just the Star Wars or the Mandoverse, but they all can collaborate together, and they're not butting heads, and no one's leaving like, I can't work with that. Like Robert Rodriguez, whatever you think of Book of Boba, like came in and somehow also worked in that. Like you know, like they have this like such a tight knit group. They're all on the same page, and you know, people are complaining that there's like the cohesiveness of Star Wars, like Disney kind of lost it, but it's not here, man. This is like season 1, 2, Boba Fett, Mando. They're all like this one through line. The whole thing, like Boba Fett's the side story to this side story, you know what I mean? But it's still like Mando weaves in, and an important thing, like they have a grasp on what they're doing as this whole team and crew of them. And I still say, give them everything. Everything.
Yeah, it's pretty wild because like these 3 new movies they're announcing is like that they don't seem like maybe they I don't know. It's like they don't seem like the next step in like the movie series, which maybe is ideal, and like perhaps the Filoni run movies will be our next category, because it's like we got 2 different
3 time periods.
3 time periods, right? 1 at the beginning of like the galaxy, 2 tying in with the Mandoverse, correct?
Yeah,
that's Filoni's, and then what's his name? Goldman.
Mangold.
The
Dawn of the Jedi.
That's Dawn of the Jedi. But then what's the one with Rey? That's
the
with
Jedi. She's renewing the Jedi Order. That's what
that's like 50 years in the future of, or
1-5,
like
1-5,
15.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just have an older Grogu show up. That'd be pretty sweet. I'm in. Like,
okay,
that'll sell it real fast.
Okay, so Grogu obviously can only grow to a certain size, because thankfully Yoda was a certain size. But is there a fear in your mind that if they keep bringing Grogu in, like his cuteness is going to stop being there, and he's just going to be he'll just be another character at some point. Like the minute he starts talking, he just becomes another character. And I'm not sure if I'm ready for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Yoda technically is cute when you think about it, but I think the best move, putting him in something else that isn't Mandalorian era driven, you gotta jump way into the future, and I think it's got to be like the cool reveal, like midway through the show, like he'll be talking. So, but you like it would be genius if you like his character comes up as like you don't see him, but you hear his voice. Like maybe he's a pilot or something, and he's like helping people out, but they only talk to him through like the comm system. And then he saves the day and appears, and he's an older version of himself, and you're just like, what? But like that's like the ace in the wild card you just put to the side. It's like that'll definitely work, because then like either you make that movie, if the story without that part is good, and then you add that on, you're like, they're all coming to the second movie if there is a second movie. But that's just me.
What about Jason Syndulla? They can't just ignore Jason Syndulla, right?
I don't know, man. Like it's just not the same effect. Nobody, like, we know who that is, but like,
no, sorry, this is a side. I changed gears. Shifted gears. I went a different direction because you were bringing that up, and I just thought of Jason Syndulla.
Yeah.
Like age wise, in like 50 years, he would probably be matching where Jason Syndulla would be for the Ahsoka series. They have to have him in there, right? You had to actually, that's side act part of the side act part, act part of this. I brought this up today, and I want to know what you think, because I watch it with Aaron. You watch it with Rhiannon. Aaron will never watch a cartoon. She just will not. She'll watch Super Mario Brothers because I'm going to make her, but she will not watch a cartoon. She won't watch Clone Wars. She won't watch Rebels. She's not going to watch any of them. Bo-Katan shows up, never asked a question.
Yeah.
I refuse to. I think at one point I told her something. I refuse to tell her anything. I just, unless she asks me, I'm not going to tell her anything. She has not been confused by anything that's going on. She hasn't been like, is that from a cartoon? Is that from, what's that from? She has never questioned it. She just takes it at face value, right? Ahsoka, however, is sounding like it's a sequel to Rebels. Like they are picking up where Rebels left off. I'm not sure. I'm confident they'll do it in a way that like Aaron and I don't know if Rehan's seen Rebels yet, but like they'll be able to watch it. But I'm like, how? Like there's gonna have to be like one-liners here or there to get like they're gonna have to reintroduce characters in a way that won't bore us, but will let the new fans know who they are.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just sort of like it's nice for us as fans, but like, like I think we get too confused after, like Star Wars made that crazy reveal of Luke, I am your father. And I know I'm probably not quoting that right. No, Luke, I am your father, whatever. But like that is crazy. And like now, because of that, every Star Wars movie has to have that moment.
Yeah.
And I think we, as people that like get so many of those details, like, oh, the coolest thing would be if that is like, it's not really the same thing. Like, it's a reveal on a character that like we have spent time with. So it's like, I'm all for it. Like they could make it work, especially if like the Hera character in Ahsoka becomes like a fan favorite of some sort. But like,
yeah,
I think you're right. I think we will see his son, or we will see Jason
Jason with a C.
Right. I think that will definitely be a thing because I don't know, maybe not. I hope not. A lot of people are going to be angry, but what else is new? Yeah, I know. Like you might see like a Ragnar Vizsla in like a 20-year jump of some sort later if Mandalorian, depending on where Mandalorian goes. So.
And if Disney gets her way, he'll be played by Jon Favreau. That's the plan. I'm that's my thing. Like I'm excited for Ahsoka and everything looks great, but you bring in it's basically a sequel. Well, it probably isn't. Let's be honest. It's probably like something totally off from Rebels because that's the way things go on the Star Wars that we get. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for Ahsoka though. August. I'm on paternity leave. Better be early August. Better be early August. Let me watch because I can watch them like first thing in the morning. I would like Selena lay down. She'll run away somewhere, but I'll get to watch it first thing though, which I don't get to do with these ones because I come home after work. Because Aaron likes to watch them with me, so I could watch them on like a lunch break,
right?
But it's better just to watch them once, because I did it with Andor. I watched Andor twice. I'd watch in the morning, then again with her, and it's fun. No, and then she stopped watching Andor. Spoilers. She couldn't get into Andor. I think it was Boba Fett. Anyway, it was one of them, and you're just like, you know what? I'd rather watch it for the first time with her because then we could be like, "What's that? I don't know. They're gonna die." Did you think anyone was gonna die in this episode? Bo-Katan, Din Djarin, Axe Woves.
I don't know. I don't think so because with Paz Vizsla dying episode prior. I think like that's it. I think Heidi mentioned earlier in the chat that she thinks she heard that episode 7 and 8, 23, 24 were originally one full episode. So it kind of works. It kind of good. It's nice to end on like, oh gosh, like this could fall apart. Even because like the whole season is like, we're going on a trip and we're making lots of friends and it's working out. Watch out for the guy in the shadows. But like, it was. I think I don't know. Like once the tide turns, right? So. Oh, but one thing I was gonna say earlier too, but I forgot. Like that whole scene where like they go into the cave and there's like vegetation and like they've never seen vegetation without being in one of the domes. It's like, no, this world can like grow vegetation. You just have to let it happen. So, sort of like saying, hey, we need to stop having wars on this planet and destroying the planet and getting blown up. Like once we do that, life can be better. So that's like one reason I think like perhaps like if there's a next season and we go back to Mandalore, it's going to be more about of like we have to change our ways and perhaps there's a menace stopping us. Please, Din Djarin and Grogu, help us, blah, blah, blah. And like it kind of, if you think about that, it's like that could explain why there's no Mandalorian presence to our knowledge in Rise of the or any of the sequel movies, because they're like, oh, we'll still help, but like we're done with being like crazy warriors because we destroyed our way of life. so like I'm like that's a nice way to just wrap that up in a bow, but still I'm sure like we're going back to Mandalore. Like come on.
Maybe we'll find out. I just thought that this episode was it perfectly summed up and ended the season. Like it was kind of like bam, everything that we were building towards. This is it. This is what we had in store for you, and it felt so Star Wars. Like I said, like I think like somewhere along the line I forgot what it was about Star Wars I like I like it all, like don't get me wrong, but at some point I'm like, why do I like Star Wars? On this one I was like, oh yeah, it's those, they had them in the seat in I think Rise of Skywalker's, but the black walls with the white circle lights that R5 flies onto, mouse droids, SWAT teams.
That was great.
It was awesome. It was so good. It was just like the jetpacks, the Darksaber coming up, being crushed, Moff Gideon wearing the Darth Vader outfit. Like, it's like, yeah, this is why I like Star Wars. Like, this is why I like it. Andor is why I appreciate it. This is why I like it. This is what I want. And Black Series, not by me probably, but Black Series will be bought of Moff Gideon in droves.
Oh, yeah.
When is that Funko Pop hitting?
Oh God, that's a really good question.
How good is that cost? Like, how good was that outfit though? Like,
it was awesome.
I was like, keep it around forever.
Like it had the like Darth Maul vibe to it as well. Like it's just like
horns.
Boom. No, it was great.
Near perfect. All right, should I open this?
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't want to show his address. All right, this was gifted to me from friend Steve at work. I put the mic down. I might accidentally click a button. There. Can you see me?
Yeah.
I should have started opening this before we did it. This is a nightmare. Can already tell this is going to be impossible. I don't have a knife either. I'm very unprepared. You'd think I'd be prepared, but I'm not. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good.
Who is your favorite Mandalorian and why?
I don't know.
Axe
I guess Din. He's got the best series.
It's true. You know what's funny though? I can't open this. It's I'm just gonna rip it. It's the one thing though that they didn't finish for me was last season. They were like, oh, I got it open. They said, oh, Axe Wolves isn't in the last couple episodes. You're gonna find out why and where he was, and we never did.
Mm-hmm.
We never. Oh, look at that! It's a poster.
Damn, I was hoping it was a lightsaber.
Imagine, oh, dude, I don't. Come on.
Looks like Mando. Oh.
Yeah, March 1.
Nice.
This is from my friend Steve, who also gifted me the Andor poster.
Was it double-sided?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
It's like...
Or just see-through?
It's see-through, yeah. It's nice.
Okay.
Wow.
That's sick. Where'd he get that?
So, Brock, I have to tell you, he gets these for free on Disney Movie Insider. Disney probably knows about this. You collect Disney points.
Yeah.
Like anytime you go see a Disney movie
in
the theater, whatever, you can collect points. And he collects points, and he goes, I'll get this poster. And then he said, do you want it? I have no use for it. And I said, well, neither do I, but yes. And he gave me the Andor one. He got me the Andor one as well. And the Andor one's cool because it actually, there's a receipt, $0.
$0.
The Andor one's cool because it actually has the original release date of August 24th.
Oh,
got pushed. So yeah, that one's great. I love that poster. Did you see the poster they released yesterday for the finale?
I think so. It's got him holding the Darksaber, right? And most of the cast is in it, or just
And most of the cast, yeah, it looks nice. Though it's pretty. But I really like this one. I can't wait to get that one on my fake wall.
I just looked up Mandalorian season 3 Funko Pops. There's no images yet, and I think this is like a leak, but it's saying here Mandalorian Funko Pop, Grogu with Pram Funko Pop, Bacon, Bo-Katan, Kreese Funko Pop, Bacon Chris Katan, Paz Vizsla Funko Pop, the Armor Funko Pop, Peli Motto.
Wait a minute.
Hmm?
Did you just say Bacon Chris Katan?
Yeah, I did.
Chris Katan played Corky Romano. Doesn't Bo-Katan have a relative named Corky?
Yes. That's the cousin. Oh my gosh. That's the cousin that like fans are saying is actually Obi-Wan's son because like between Satine. I always forget that Satine is Bo-Katan's sister or his sisters. They're sisters, right? I was just like, yo. Anyways, Peli Motto with Grogu, Judge Macaroon. I don't know who that was. Judge Macaroon, Bo-Katan Kreese on Throne Funko Pop, and then there looks like there's a Mando in the N-Wing Starfighter. All hearsay. This is allegedly. So, but who else? Judge Macaroon. I don't know.
Oh, he was the orange-headed Mando. And look, he's either the orange-headed Mando or he's a macaroon. I can't tell. I typed in
Yeah,
Judge
you're right.
What? I typed in Judge Macaroon, and I got pictures of macaroons and the orange-headed one. So he's one of the two.
What?
I don't know which one he is. I don't know. Dale, who is he?
Well, you can buy him on the Funko Pop already, but or we can pre-order it. That's wild because it is the first picture that comes up.
No one knows who he is.
That's amazing. A judge was a member of a Mandalorian covert on Rocky.
What?
The sentence doesn't even make sense. I'm looking at Wikipedia right now.
Was there a scene maybe that was deleted where I understand. Like, I'm glad they don't have like a Moff Gideon one because we would have had that spoiled. I didn't know he was going to wear that until he wore it last week. So I'm glad. Like, I'm fine with all of it. Yes, Judge Macaroon. If you guys, okay, you know what? No offense, Heidi, Dale, Sooner, Desi, any of you in the chat right now, but if you didn't know who Judge Macaroon was before we started this, you are not a true Star Wars fan. Fake fans, all of you. Brock is wearing a shirt in his honor. It's the orange.
That's right. I don't know, but like this has like Constable Vesuvio vibes all over it. Like it'd be like, what?
Well, at least this guy was actually in the thing. Yeah. Judge Macaroon. They were probably sitting around the table like high as a kite, probably. Like, we should do this. What should we name him? A Macaroon. Like, you know who probably played him? It was probably played by Judge Reinhold.
Yeah.
Heidi says, I think Grogu ate him.
Boom. It sounds like a name from a name generator or whatever. It's like Star Wars names. It sounds kind of like a real word and then a fake space word.
So true. Welcome to Star Wars. Judge Macaroon. I'll never forget that. He's the new Boba Fett in my eyes.
I mean, if it is that Mandalorian, it's a smart move because people will buy the same pop that's just been painted a different color. Like I've done it many times.
I should have brought it here, but I have the Cobb Vanth pop. I got a Dollarama, but I got the Cobb Vanth. It's just Boba Fett with for paint job.
Exactly.
But it was it's like I like the way Boba Fett looked in the second season of Mandalorian, like in that armor where it was like all crusty and like
Yeah,
the paint
yeah.
was scratched. I like that look. It was a Dollarama, and then I didn't buy it. Then I went back the next day after we recorded. I had a lot of regret not buying it, so I went back and I picked it up, and it's just like on a shelf of my garage. I forgot I had it. I also got, you know what I also got recently for like $1, the Boba Fett Christmas ornament for $1 at Walmart. They had it, and I also got Mandalorian and Grogu, but they were $2. But yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, sweet. All right.
All right. I couldn't get the. I tried. Actually did try this week. I couldn't get the intro for Never Tell Me the Odds to work. I did try though. Last week I didn't try. This week I did. Soonerthron saying, Judge Mac, Jackson the Rabbit. Oh, Jackson the Rabbit. There'll be a Funko of Jackson very soon. I'm.
Oh yeah, the
my
Black
guess
Series.
is absolutely. All right. Never Tell Me the Odds. Let's go.
Never Tell Me the Odds, brought to everyone by patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. If you like what we do, why don't you support us? We would greatly appreciate it, because sometimes we just need to know that people like what we do. And those people that continue every week to like what we do are the wonderful, wonderful people we shout out every episode. Heidi Feder, executive producer, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Randy Kenobi, Mary Kristen Aton, Jeff Wilson, Phil Staniforth, Rez, Scott D, Josh Price,
Matt W, Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, Cosmic Girl 02, Gleek Play 1, Disney Desi, Charlotte, Kayla Davis, Dale Erdman, Soonerthron, and Dennerts.
boom.
We got a bunch
Thank
of you
you
in the live chat right now. Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah.
It means a lot to both of us. I almost hit end broadcast as I tried to go back to
surprise.
That's actually a good odd. Well, let's start with this odd. Well, a write-in vote odd from Patreon supporter Soonerthron. Never tell me the odds we'll ever see Cobb Vanth again.
I hope so. I mean, we ended on him being in the back of tank. I'm like, come on. Tim Oliphant, I call him Tim. Like, you want him on your project. You want him. He was in Daisy Jones in the 6 for like 10 seconds, and somehow he's in the main credits. Like, he's a good actor, so I want to go 85%. Honestly,
I don't know anything you just said. You're talking
That's
about
right,
Mickey
bitch.
from Scream 2. Mickey from Scream 2. He'll blame it on the movies. Scream 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, I know.
Big Cobb Vanth fan because of that. He's coming back. Yeah, they wouldn't have shown that. I'm gonna go 91%.
Great character. If they did like a Rangers of the New Republic show, like he would be great to throw in there. I know his character has almost nothing to do with the Republic, but I'm like,
he's a Ranger.
He would be great. He would be great.
I'll tell you this. Cara Dune had nothing to do with the Republic also. Until they decided that she did. Until they were like, you do. I wonder if that's why they brought him back. They're like, well, we just lost Cara Dune.
Yeah.
Back to tank. Bring him in. All right, Never Tell Me the Odds. Thank you so much for all your support, patrons. Here we go. Ahsoka. Oh, Never Tell Me the Odds. Ahsoka, and a villain in Ahsoka will lose a limb. We haven't had any limb dismemberments in a while. I feel like if we're going to, it might be by the hands of a lightsaber, and we're getting several in Ahsoka.
Like a main villain, or just anyone that's sort of bad in the story?
Villain. Let's go villain. Like
Okay,
the two with the lightsabers. Not
exactly.
Thrawn. I wouldn't say Thrawn.
No, but like,
well, it'll end up being Thrawn now because everything we say is the opposite. So.
Yeah, perfect. I'm gonna go 75%. Yeah, I mean, probably gonna happen.
Ooh, I'm gonna go full Brock. We haven't had any. In like since what? Anakin? I really wish that Rey cut off. I know, don't hate on me, but I wish in Last Jedi still that Rey swiped off Kylo's hand when he reaches out to her to like join me. That's what in the theater, and like I'm over it, but in the theater, that's what I kind of thought I was like, she's gonna cut his hand off. Oh no, they're in love. So we never got that. Yeah, I'm gonna go for Brock. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't know if there's contact for it. Never tell me the odds. Chopper will be the first character we see in Ahsoka. Can you like you just because he sounds like Charlie Brown's teachers.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 90% because it'd be beautiful that like Ahsoka gets Chopper to bring her to the rest of the crew, or like I feel like Ahsoka and Sabine are gonna have a lot of screen time, so perhaps he brings her to Sabine. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be the first. I'm gonna go 47%. I think he'll be the first Rebels character we see. I think there's even then Sabine's so higher up. Chopper's probably with Hera.
Yeah.
And Hera. So yeah, I'm gonna go 47%. I should probably go lower, but that's where we are. All right, now final odd. Next season of The Mandalorian, season 4 of The Mandalorian, which we have just broken news that it has been confirmed by us. We will return to a more
habitable. Yeah, I know.
No. My phone autocorrected to habitat
AI.
Oh, you got that. A more habitable Mandalore. Are we going to go to Mandalore with flowers and oranges?
I mean, I brought it up, so I'm going to go 99%. Full Brock -1. No, wait.
Yeah, Brock. I guess the only thing that would really, I would say it's like 100% if we go to Mandalore.
Yeah. It's a Hondo P. That's what I used to call it. Hondo P.
Will we go to Mandalore, though? I'm going to go 77%. It's high on my list, but I could also see them being like, we're not going to Mandalore this season, guys. Like, don't forget, we didn't get any, like, there was no heavy, no armor, nothing in season 2. Season 2 was like, they're not in this show. They're in the Boba Fett show. Don't forget that. So for all we know, they'll show up in Skeleton Crew and not Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. Full Brock plus 49. And we'll do one final odd because why not? I don't know how long we've been going for. I can't see my screen. Never tell me the odd. Will we see a Bothan in Andor?
Oof, I would love it.
Not going to happen.
No, but down the line, maybe. But it wouldn't make sense because that's more Return of the Jedi era, right? So, like, Andor.
Are we ever going to see a Bothan period?
I want to say 80% yes. At some point. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to go Andor. I'm going to go 30% because they just don't like aliens on Andor. And I'm going to go in the future Star Wars 77%.
Nice.
All right, you got news?
I do.
Hollow news, da 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 da. Hollow news, da 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 da. Hollow news, da 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 da. My mic's off.
Hollow news. Hollow news. The news you need to know right now. We are about a week away from Jedi Survivor releasing on PS5, Xbox SX, whatever it's called now, and PC, I believe. And according to new figures, Jedi Survivor may be one of the biggest file downloads ever for a single game, especially for a game without any additional modes or DLC attached to it. The reported file size for PS5 is 147.57 gigabytes. Reported size for Xbox Series X, 139 gigabytes. And the reported file size for PC is 155 gigabytes. Things only shrink when you download it for Xbox Series S, and it gets just 44 gigabytes when you really think about it. The game is not supposed to come to PS4 or Xbox One, of the few major releases to fully leave the last generation behind. For comparison, the grand total for Ark Survival Evolved is 400 gigabytes, but that's with a metric ton of expansions. Call of Duty Modern Warfare was 235 gigabytes. And Borderlands 3's director's cut is 135 gigabytes, just to give you an example. So, like, this is pretty large. So if you're going to get this game, start thinking about all the space you have on your console. And another news, scenes for the Disney Plus channel were due to be shot. Oh, sorry. Scenes for Andor Season 2 have been put on hold because of an issue at one of the sets. Scenes for the Disney Plus channel were due to be shot at Winspit Quarry, close to Worth Matravers, a picturesque village on the Isle of Purbeck Peninsula in Dorset, where the first series was filmed in May 2021. The National Trust, which owns the site, said plans to film had been canceled to a safety concern following recent turbulent weather in the area. Winspit Quarry served as the headquarters for Saw Gerrera, featured in the 8th episode of the sci-fi series, according to Dorset Live. National Trust spokesperson said the planned filming due to take place at Winspit Quarry has been canceled due to safety concerns following the recent turbulent weather. Visitors looking to explore the Dorset coast are advised to follow signs and keep out of unsafe areas until further surveys have been undertaken. The coasting cliffs along the stretch of the coast, including the quarry, can be unstable and naturally liable to landslips and falls, in particular after extreme weather, including heavy rainfall and hot, dry spells. So it's very dangerous right there, but all I'm hearing is that we're going to get a little bit more Saw Gerrera in Season 2 of Andor. And this has been your Hollow News.
You have to get Saw Gerrera in Season 2.
Yeah.
You don't have him show up in Season 1 not to put him in Season 2.
Could you imagine a whole series of a show or just in one episode where it's all the cool side characters? It's like Pelimoto, R5, Saw Gerrera, Carson Teva. Like, it'd be great. Frog Lady. How would you even make that work?
Favreau, Filoni, they'll do whatever they want.
They'll do whatever they want.
All right.
Boom. Top 5.
Saw Gerrera is crazy pants. Top 5. Top 5 moments from the series finale of the Mandalorian series. Dun, dun, dun. Season finale of the Mandalorian. Chapter 24, The Return of the Mandai. A Mandai? That's plural Mandalorian.
Yes.
Mandai.
Very nice. Very nice.
Frog Lady, a Star Wars story. Make it happen. Earlier today I tweeted out Captain Bombardier, a Star Wars story. So they should do an episode where Bombardier and Frog Lady chill, because they're in the same, like, there's a Frog Lady species in that.
Yeah, that's right.
Dinner table. So the Mouse Police. Oh my God, there's so many great ideas. Number 5, Axe Wolf's crash landing. I'm crushing down on it. And then he jumps out of it. And you're like, what? Axe Wolves, you spy?
My number 5 is the mouse droid SWAT team. That was amazing. It's like they were intimidating yet adorable all at the same time.
You know, I don't have R5 at all on my list, or the mouse droids.
Yeah.
Because my list is terrible. But I have to be honest with you. They took R5, a character who just blows up in A New Hope, and like made him a secondary character who is heroic.
Yeah.
And this, like, I'm like, what are we watching here? Pure Star Wars. Hondo percent.
Hondo percent. Like, Filoni, whenever he gets involved, is very good at making droids very engageable and relatable. Like, he's like, Star Wars, I think, does it best where you can relate to something that is either a puppet or not talking an understandable language. It's just like, yeah, I get what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 4, the skydiving charge. And they're all like in their jetpacks.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, and it was like the beginning of Braveheart, but better. Like, more historical accurate.
Yeah.
And they went, and then the Darksaber came out, and I was like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
This is a disaster for everybody involved. But it was fun to watch.
Yeah, mine's basically the same. Like, anything with jetpacks in this episode was great. Like, it was just fantastic.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your number?
Yeah, that was my number 4.
Hold on. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat. I got sidetracked by the chat. Mostly this. I want a Rom-Com Pelimoto and a Twi'lek. Coffee crisp. Do you guys have coffee crisps in the States yet? Is
Isn't
that like a
that?
thing?
Yeah, that's
How
not
do you
one of
like
the
your coffee? I like my coffee crisp. You like it?
things.
Very specific joke. Number 3, Din. My next 3 are all the same. Number 3, Din versus the Beskar troopers. You decide which one of the two fights. You decide. For me, it was the Beskar troopers. You know, I'm a stormtrooper guy, and I was like, everything about this. There's not one human face to be seen, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, exactly. My number 3 is kind of the same, but it's Din Djarin versus the what are they called?
Praetorian
Praetorian Guards. I was like the Pangean Guards. That was just fun.
Somebody said Din can't fight last week. Wasn't us. We've been saying all along he's the best fighter on the planet. My number 2 is Din versus Darth Gideon. Again, no faces to be seen, and I loved every second of it. It was a fantastic fight. And Grogu showed up, Bo-Katan showed up, the Darksaber got destroyed showed up. I am all in.
My number 2 is the return of IG-11. This means that Taika Waititi is still in Star Wars good standing, so he can direct his movies now. This is like the theme to like the end of Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Where it sounds like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, John Williams was just playing some Mortal Kombat like 4. He's like, he's like, that's great. This was the first season, probably the first time since the Obi-Wan show where I was like, oh man, I kind of wish they had classic Star Wars music in a few sequences. Not Obi-Wan was while I was watching, there was a couple, but this was after the fact. I'm like, oh, like last week I mentioned I wish Duel of the Fates was playing during one of the scenes, because anyway, that's besides the point. I don't really care. And number 1, Din and Grogu versus the Praetorian Guards. Look, I am easy to figure out. Praetorian Guards, that's my number 1. The end, always and forever. Again,
you unplugged your thing and I completely missed. You're like, again? I can hear you again. I hear clicking.
yeah, but it's
There
not my mic. Number 1, and will always be my number 1, Praetorian Guards.
Praetorian Guards. Boom. My number 1 is going to be old man Mando and Grogu with their little shack, and it's just like it was beautiful at the end. They're like the circle goes in and he drops the frog and you're like,
so they show like his new cottage, right? And they
Yeah,
show Din sitting down, and Aaron goes, is Grogu with a frog? Does Grogu have a frog? And it pulled out and he's got the frog. I'm like, did you write this with Favs? And then sure enough, she did. Her name was in the credits. End scene written by. Great episode. Good episode. Great time. Yeah, Grogu with the back to spray was great. I'm fine. That was a great scene.
Oh, that's what he's spraying. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it was a. Look, it was a fun episode, and it just felt so Star Wars. And like I said, this, I don't know if you really have struggled liking this one, like maybe not loving it, but liking it, maybe you've grown out of Star Wars.
Maybe you should leave.
Maybe you should be. It was a happy ending, like Disney says. It was a happy ending. Yeah, and Star Wars is about that. It doesn't have to be like we had the miserable ending last week, and now we got the happy ending. I don't know. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars is always going to end with a happy ending. It's like it's not gonna. The last one's not gonna be like, well, that was miserable.
Yeah, like I'm only sad is just we don't get anything for a while now. So, but it's like
I know August is a lot. Well, is there something coming up between now and August?
No. I was actually looking that up.
No Visions 2, nothing. Wow.
No, I think they just started that. Like they started working on that now. Visions doesn't come out till next year. Skeleton Crew and Acolytes next year, right? Yeah.
Well, I think there's a reason for that, and we should check the board. KK was just
It'll be fine.
fired.
It'll be fine.
Kathleen Kennedy, out the door.
Fired.
You're
Chapek,
fired.
you're back in. I know you know
Chapek-
nothing about.
No, Chapek would be like have 7 shows in between now and Ahsoka. Chapek, you're back. Kennedy, you're out. Nobody wants you anyway. You got laser eyes. I've seen you on YouTube thumbnails.
Oh.
Laser eyes.
Oh no, we have been revealed that Visions comes out May 4th. Which
Dale is actually like
Yeah.
he's our story group.
perfect.
He's the one when we're J.J. Abrams, like, what should happen is this, and he'd be like, well, no, we have this, and we're like, well, I don't even know. He's like, you ever watch is it Pardon the PTI? Is it PTI when they have the fact checker at the end of the show? And they're like, what did we get wrong? And it's just Dale like, well, Ahsoka's not really a Jedi. Grogu's a puppet. Just like everything wrong. We don't know anything. Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back, and The Last Jedi had sad endings. Yes, they did. And Desi is arguing that the Rise of Skywalker had a sad, it didn't have a happy ending, and I think Jonathan agrees with it. Anyway, look, there was hugging involved. It was a happy ending for everybody but Ben Solo, who died. He died.
Yeah. Very nice.
Ahsoka is no Jedi. That the trailer though for Ahsoka, it says like, what does it say? It says like hero, outcast. But then it says Jedi. I'm like, well, this is confusing for everyone. Here's the thing. Like, we're gonna end the show, but we could talk about how she's not a Jedi. But Reham and Aaron, she's a Jedi. You know, like they're like, that's a Jedi and that's a bad Jedi. The end.
They're not gonna say any of that. They'll be like, that's Rosario Dawson and she's orange today. So
all right. That was a fun episode. Ben Solo died making out. Everybody's mad at me now. I'm joking. Kylo Ren died. Ben Solo lives on in the hearts of dead Han Solo.
Yeah.
He killed Han. Did you ever see the was it the Beetlejuice live performance with Adam Driver? And the guy calls him out for killing Han Solo.
No, I didn't see that. That's amazing.
It's pretty. I think it's old, but yeah, it's like Beetlejuice live, and Adam Driver's in the audience, and he's singing like his Beetlejuice song. And he goes, "And Adam Driver, you killed Han Solo." I'm sure he wanted to be outed for that in the middle of the performance. Like, oh, now people know I'm here. All right, Brock. Anything else you want to say?
No, I love Mandalorian, and I'm looking forward to watching it again. Boom.
All right. Thanks for everybody for sticking around, for joining the live chat. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Can't wait to do it again. Maybe next week, maybe not.
We'll see.
We'll see, because May the 4th and Revenge of the 5th are fast approaching.
Oh, yeah.
They're coming very fast. So we're going to have shows for that, and we'll have more on the way. It's been a lot of fun. Brock, good night, everybody. You were always scum.
Rebel Scum.
Watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.